Does your Hytale experience look like this? Well, with my help, in a few short minutes, you are going to turn it into this, in just a few simple and easy steps. First things first, before you even exit the spawn room, you want to collect all this rubble, as it will be useful in the next step. After you have collected some rubble, 6 to be exact, punch some leaves to get fiber. And lastly, you have to gather sticks. You can either do this by finding them naturally on the ground or just by punching a tree. But if you don't have tools, punching trees is gonna take a while. Now that you have your ingredients, craft one of each starting tool. Then use your axe to chop some more trees down, as you'll need their sap to craft some torches. 4 is enough for now, and place them in your offhand so you can always have a source of light when you're underground. The next step is to locate this structure. It's called the Forgotten Temple Gateway. You want to do this because it contains a lot of good loot. You have to enter this central room and then go down the stairs. Here you will meet a golem guarding a portal. If you don't feel comfortable with combat yet, it is possible to just avoid him and get to the chest. Here you'll get some starting loot that could really speed up your progression. And there is another chest on this side. If you feel comfortable though, you can fight the golem and gain access to the portal. He is pretty tough for early game equipment and has a variety of attacks, the most dangerous one being when he starts spinning rapidly. Yeah, just like this. However, if you still want to enter the portal, you can just avoid him. Entering this portal will bring you to the Forgotten Temple. Currently, the only thing to do here is interact with this shrine thingy. Here you will discover memories. And basically, whenever you encounter a creature you haven't encountered before, a little icon will appear above their head, showing that you have collected their memories. Then you can go back to this structure and restore them. As you can see, I collected a memory of this merchant and now I have him here. As you collect memories, you will unlock some decorative and endgame features, but I'm not going to cover this in the video that you're watching right now. However, if you do decide to defeat the golem, he will drop a lot of cobblestone, which may be useful later. Now that we're finished with the temple, we're gonna go around and collect some food. This means killing all animals you see that are not hostile and collecting the various berries, vegetables and wheat you find on the way. Different animals drop different kinds of hide. There exist 3 types: light, medium and heavy. I will now show on screen some of the animals that drop each of these items. Now that you collected your food, we can start progression on technology. The base of this will be the workbench, requiring 4 logs and 3 stone of any kind. Placing it down and opening it will allow us to craft plenty more things than we could have previously. What we're currently interested in is the furnace, requiring 6 logs and 6 stone, and the campfire, requiring 4 sticks and 2 rubble. Now it's time to go mining. It's best to search for a cave on the map, but if you find a structure that looks like this, then congratulations, you have found an abandoned mine. This is a way better structure for getting ores than just regular caves. You can even find some chests in here. What we're looking for are 2 types of ores. This orangey brown one called copper and this rusty gray one called iron. You will need a lot of both and you can mine them with just a crude pickaxe. Be wary, in caves you will encounter all sorts of dangers, but most of the time it's better to fight them because they also drop useful materials. Caves are divided into 2 main layers. This is the upper layer, characterized by this lighter variant of stone and moss growing in places. And this is the bottom layer, characterized by darker stone, lava, and more dangerous enemies. But if you manage to deal with the dangers, there is also a lot more ores here, especially iron. After collecting a bunch of ores and finding a safe place to rest, place your furnace and your campfire. Let's hope you brought a bunch of logs because you need fuel to use both of these stations. The campfire cooks your food, while the furnace smelts your ores. After finding a nice looking place to set up your base, place down your stations and make a couple of chests to store all of your valuables. Now is also a good time to make a tanning rack, an armorer's workbench, and a blacksmith's anvil. The tanning rack will allow you to turn your hides into leather, which is the material used for crafting high-level gear. The blacksmith's anvil will allow you to craft high-tier weapons, and the armorer's workbench will allow you to do the same for armor. An additional important resource is linen scraps. It is acquired mostly through skeletons, but some other enemies drop it too. You will need it along with 30 copper and 20 iron to upgrade your workbench to tier 2. Doing this will unlock recipes for higher tier tools and for the rest of the locked workbenches. Additionally, you will unlock the backpack recipe, which, when crafted and used, will unlock 9 additional slots in your inventory. Also, night will fall eventually. This is when skeletal patrols and void creatures will spawn. You should consider making some basic walls just to protect yourselves from them if you're not very good at combat. With your leftover copper and some plant fiber and tree logs, you will be able to craft copper gear. However, if you're more experienced at the game, I would recommend saving your copper and instead skipping straight to iron. For iron gear, in addition to lots and lots of iron ingots, we are going to need light leather. This is the time to farm animals that drop light hide, as you're going to need lots of it. After gathering your light hide, remember to put it in the tanning rack, and then when it's all done, you can use your scraps, light leather, and iron to craft some iron armor. You will probably need to go on a mining trip again to procure the rest of the iron ingots, as you do need quite a lot. Now, with your new gear, you may be feeling pretty confident. If that is the case, then it is time to venture to the other zones. On the island that you spawned on, Zone 2, or the deserts, will always be to the south, and Zone 3, or the frozen mountains, will always be to the north. Around the main island, you will also find these small lava-covered islands that are called Zone 4. These are more high-level locations, which I will not cover in this tutorial. However, if you don't want to go to these more dangerous locations just yet, then you can craft yourself a farmer's workbench and a chef's stove. This tutorial will not cover farming and cooking, as that is covered by plenty of other videos. The reason we are exploring these new zones is to retrieve cobalt and thorium. These materials are on the same tier, so their stats are nearly identical, but cobalt gives you attack damage with your ultimates, and thorium gives you poison resistance. However, keep in mind that to craft either, you will need an armorer's workbench and blacksmith's anvil, both at tier 2, which can be pretty grindy. But if you have decided to upgrade, then we can go exploring. In the caves of Zone 2, you will find this shiny green ore. This is thorium, and you can still mine it with a stone pickaxe. But another important item in the thorium tools and armor recipe are venom sacks. Venom sacks can be acquired from snakes, spiders, Scarix Seekers, and most other things that deal poison damage. If you're struggling to find Venom Sacs, you can find a bunch of Scarix Seekers in this biome called the Badlands around their nest, a structure that looks like this. Now let's turn our attention up north. In Zone 3, the main thing you're looking for is cobalt. It's this murky blue ore. A good place to search for is in these stone pillory structures because they spawn as ore deposits. This one is copper, but it could also spawn as a cobalt pillar. And the other Zone 3 exclusive ingredient you need are Shadow Weave scraps. You get these by killing Outlanders. They are cultist-like humans with masks that spawn in some of the structures in Zone 3. Now these Outlanders can prove to be a challenge for even more experienced players. So try to stick with the weaker looking ones, like this cultist and ranger, and avoid the marauders and brutes, as they can really do a number on you. After grinding a lot, you will have enough materials to craft your preferred set. Remember, you need cobalt ingots, heavy leather, and shadow weave scraps for cobalt gear, and linen scraps, thorium ingots, venom sacs, and medium leather for thorium gear. After crafting your gear, here I have a mix of the two, you can get into advanced workstations. These are the Alchemist and Arcanist workbench. For the Arcanist workbench, you're going to need 10 thorium, 30 linen scraps, and 20 Essence of the Void. And for the Alchemist's workbench, you're going to need 20 stone, 5 gold ingots, 10 venom sacs, and 10 bone fragments. You obtain Void Essence by killing creatures of the Void. And you obtain bone fragments by killing skeletons. After crafting both of these, opening them up, you will see that in the Arcanist's workbench you can craft teleporters and staffs and totems, while in the Alchemist's workbench you can craft potions and bombs. However, this is all a more advanced topic, and this will be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and found it educational, and I hope this has eased your way into learning Hytale's mechanics. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and bye bye.